Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of Jamaica's national anthem.
You may be seated. Custos Rotularium, St. Thomas, Honorable Marcia Bennett, CDJP, Member of Parliament, St. Thomas Eastern, Dr. Michelle Charles, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Michael Hugh, Councillor Edwin Marr of the Landui Division, and other councillors represented here today. Mrs. Pauline Ellington, Pastor, Christ Chapel Church, Morant Bay. Miss St. Thomas Festival Queen 2021, Miss Ashigay Mullings. Mr. Colchester Watson, Chairman, St. Thomas Cultural Development Committee. Representatives of uniformed groups, partnering agencies, and community groups. Staff, JCDC St. Thomas Parish Office. Teachers, students, members of the business community, awardees present here this morning, my countrymen and women right here in my presence and watching eventually live or delayed rather from wherever it is you are in the world. Today, as is customary, we gather to salute our heroes and to recognize the sterling service of our parish's own by way of an award ceremony this day, August 13, at the Paul Bogus Square, Morant Bay. I am Alicia Morgan Lewis, and it is my distinguished pleasure to be navigating you throughout this morning's proceedings. And as is customary, and as made mention before, irrespective of what is happening, we gather every year in this fashion to remember, to reflect, to show homage to those who would have made incredible sacrifices and done so much so that we as a nation can stand proud. In addition to our 7 national heroes who we will salute and recognize with the reading of citations and laying of floral tributes, we also recognize those unsung heroes among us, those who have worked tirelessly, who have sacrificed their family time, who have sacrificed their own safety, who have given of their service, their resources, their time in ensuring that this, our parish, St. Thomas, ranks right there on top with the others. The challenges are great and we must never deny them. But nonetheless, we continue steadfast as a people, united, strong, forthright, and committed to ensuring that our Jamaica continues to be what it is and to improve as the years go by. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be singing together, joining our hearts and voices together as we sing the national song to be led by Miss Anika Robinson. Please make her welcome as she comes.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Jamaica, land of beauty, we promise faithfully to serve thee with our talents and bring our gifts to thee. Jamaica, we will always, in honor of thy name, work steadfastly and wisely, and never bring thee shame. From riverside to mountain, from cane field to the sea, our hearts salute Jamaica, triumphant, proud and free. Together in our country, we love and brotherhood. We'll work and play in freedom as all God's children should, with hearts and hands united in thanks for everything that God has given to us. Together let us sing. From riverside to mountain, from cane field to the sea, our hearts salute Jamaica, triumphant, proud and free. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Robinson. Our hearts salute Jamaica, triumphant, proud, free. And at this time, we will invite Mrs. Pauline Ellington, pastor, Christ Chapel Church, to offer prayer.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And I just would like to acknowledge in our presence today, one more time, the Honorable Marcia Bennett, CD Custos Rotolorum of St. Thomas, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Michael Hugh, also Dr. Michelle Charles, Member of Parliament, Eastern St. Thomas, Councillor Edwin Marr, representing the Leader of the Opposition, Councillor Landui, Division, Superintendent Byfield, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, everyone present. It is good that we are able to come and to celebrate today. Would you be so kind as to stand with me as we go before the Lord in prayer? There are many things that are right with our country. For instance, a few weeks ago when we saw this young man on social media asking for help, his eyes full of tears and, just crying out. And the heart-warming response of the church and also, members of the community, it gives us hope. But there are so many things that are wrong, like when we lose 2 children in 1 week, one 5-year-old and the other 10. It tells us that we must always be humble at the foot of the cross. Let us pray. Lord Jesus, we thank you again. We don't take this opportunity lightly. as we one more time celebrate and give thanks to you for taking us along this journey of independence. Dear Lord, even as we celebrate and even as we give thanks, as we are in Heritage Week, and we thank you for the blood and the sacrifice of those who have given their very life to cause us to be here today, bold, strong, and free. We thank you, dear Lord, but at the same time, we bow our hearts and head before you humbly, asking that you would hold our hands, guide us, lead us. Let your Holy Spirit envelop the houses of decisions in our country. As ordinary citizens, help us, dear Lord, not to pass by on the other side, but to be our brother's keeper, a kind word, a good deed, in whatever way we can. Bless our country. We bow our heads, we bow our hearts. We ask for your presence throughout the rest of this service, this ceremony today. And we ask for your continued guidance. We pray especially for St. Thomas. We need your help in our economy and in our social business. Great God of heaven, we ask for your continued blessing, guidance, and leading in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Pastor Ellington. At this time, Councillor Michael Hugh, His Worship the Mayor, will come and extend a hearty welcome to us. Welcome him as he comes to welcome us.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan Lewis. Custos Rotorum, Honorable Marcia Bennett, Member of Parliament for Eastern St. Thomas, Dr. Michelle Charles, my colleague Councillor Edwin Marr of the Londonderry Division, Superintendent of Police, Miss Alison Byfield, and her Deputy Superintendent Hunter, awardees, members of the JCDC, members of the Lay Magistrates Association, all children of the Yala School, other invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my duty to welcome you to this function this morning and to say good morning to you all. As we gather here today, we pause to reflect on the sacrifices of our national heroes and the great courage it took for them to create the foundation on which we stand today. We can not only laud them as visionaries and thinkers, but we must recognize them for the work that they have done over the many years, the sacrifices that they have made to make this country what it is today. Indeed, forging a new way in an effort to create a viable future for the generation to come is the responsibility of this present generation. As we look back and laud the accomplishments of our national heroes, we are now in a watershed period of our involvement as a people. We are faced with an invisible enemy. We are in the throes of a pandemic. We pay special salutations to our teachers. This pandemic has devastated the economy of Jamaica and the entire world. Our education system has been thrown into turmoil. We cannot have face-to-face classes, and our education has taken a hit. Our security forces have been here to protect us through and throughout our journey. We want to make special mention of the workers, our frontline workers in the Ministry of Health, our doctors, our nurses, our patient care assistants. We laud them for their sacrifice to continue to give. We want to thank their families for allowing them to service this country. We have seen over 2,000 deaths so far from this pandemic. And these, what we call our local national heroes, the healthcare professionals, we want to thank their families because they have placed themselves at risk to guide us through a very difficult period, none we have ever faced before. Indeed, this country owes you all a debt of gratitude. And so today we look back to those who have helped to pave the way in the memory, and we say thanks. And to our living heroes, we commit to doing our part, ensuring that your sacrifice is not in vain. But we must make use of what is before us. We must do what is right. And I leave you with Shakespeare, that he says, I have seen a man without no shoes and I cry. I have seen a man with no feet and I stop to cry. Let us embrace what we have and give God thanks that those before us have paved the way and for us to continue to pave the way for the generation to come. We salute you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Hugh. Several key points were raised in your welcome and salutations. You aptly recognized the sterling service of our frontline workers. And today, if never before, we salute you in a most profound way. Your functioning, your sacrifice is perhaps the most important at this time. I would like to put myself there as a teacher alongside you. And while our sacrifices too are great as we try to be resilient in a most difficult time, I believe that you rank much higher in terms of what it is you do to ensure that lives are preserved and kept. And even in the face of ultimate death, your presence is still there as a guide, as a kind of comfort for those who transition this life. And so this morning, I echo the sentiments of Councillor Hugh in recognizing wholeheartedly, in a most humble and sincere way, the sacrifices made by our healthcare professionals. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be moving into our greetings segment. It is customary that our custos and appropriate representatives bring greetings or read messages on behalf of the Governor General, Prime Minister, and Leader of the Opposition. At this time, the Honorable Marcia Bennett, CDJP, Custos Rotularium of St. Thomas, will come now with greetings.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Your Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Michael Hugh, Member of Parliament, Dr. Michelle Charles, Superintendent of Police, Miss Alison Byfield, DSP Hunter, our parish awardees, Councillor Edwin Marr, other heads of departments, Reverend Ellington, our festival queen, Miss Mullins, our line president, Mario Sams, my fellow justices, our uniform groups and students, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is indeed an awesome privilege to be here under the blue skies and with the national flag just swaying in the beautiful Morant Bay Square. We are privileged to be alive and to be here another year. Our theme this year is saluting our heroes, safeguarding our legacy. And what a privilege to be here, what legacy this country has. It is that time of reflection as we come together to celebrate and remember our national heroes, the men and one woman who gave so much for a better Jamaica. Marcus Garvey, George William Gordon, Nanny of the Maroons, Paul Bogle, Sir Alexander Bustamante, Samuel Sharp, and Norman Manley. We salute them today. As we reflect on our history, and especially the importance of St. Thomas in the historic road to freedom, we celebrate the life of our national hero, the Right Honorable Paul Bogle. But as we recognize Deacon Paul Bogle and the significant legacy he has left behind, we must also take time to recognize and honor the men and women who were active participants in this struggle and paid the ultimate price. Some were shot, others were hung, many imprisoned 165 years ago. We honor them for fighting for the human rights and justice, which we now enjoy and many take for granted. Let us imagine today that these men and women must have been meeting in their homes and planning to fight for a better way of life. That would ultimately lead to their death. Paul Bogle was hung in 1865, but his commitment, dedication, and leadership, he achieved his goal. He died for you and he died for me. We must never forget the sacrifice of our national heroes, and we must honor them for their contribution to the freedoms which has contributed to a better Jamaica and indeed the world. Let us today celebrate our rich heritage, Jamaica, the land of wood and water, a proud people and a great nation. Today, the parish of St. Thomas is still in this struggle. We were neglected at that time, and we sometimes still feel neglected, but we are seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. But we look forward to this beautiful historical parish with the Blue Mountains taking its rightful place as a significant contributor to the further development of Jamaica. As a people, let us strive to inculcate good values in our children. We are blessed with a vibrant history. Let us teach our children the importance of the role the parish played in this country's history. Let us encourage them to appreciate our rivers, the Stony Gut, Bath Botanical Garden, Judgment Cliff, this Morant Bay Courthouse, the Plantain Garden River, the only one that does not flow in a northerly direction, the Stokes Hall Great House, and many, many other beautiful and historic sites. St. Thomas has so much to offer. Today, we continue in our struggles and are motivated by our aspirations. But with God's help, we continue to work towards a more equitable and just country where we can achieve prosperity and peace in our beautiful country, Jamaica land we love. I'd also like to remember all those who have died since the pandemic and salute the hard-working men and women, doctors, nurses, teachers. It is with gratitude that we pray and ask God for his keeping care and tender mercy and watch over Jamaica. We hope that one day we will be able to live our lives the way we were accustomed to. But in the meantime, I urge you, my fellow citizens, to where possible, if you don't have any other ailments, and if your doctor is saying no, but we need to get back to the way we used to live. Take your vaccines. Encourage people to be vaccinated. It will not prevent you from becoming ill, but it will give you a chance to survive. I have taken my vaccine. I am not 100%, as even Miss Morgan, who is young and can stand up in the sun, and Mayor Hugh, and see me here, I'm all right. So I'm begging you, we don't want to bury nobody else. Take your vaccines. My parish, my beautiful parish, is behind in taking the vaccine. I heard you. With God's help, we will continue to be leaders. You know that the sun rises in the east. You know what that means? We are always first when the race comes out. So encourage your neighbors to take the vaccine. I wish for you a beautiful and a God-bless Heritage Day when it comes on Monday. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Marcia Bennett. Truer words have never been said. I don't even know if I want to go there, but there are several contending issues and views about vaccination. And the truth is, our parish, St. Thomas, is lagging behind where we currently have the highest rate of resistance. And while the views are potent and relevant, the research tells us, ladies and gentlemen, that with vaccination, there is the increased likelihood of preventing hospitalization and ultimate death. And so, I too am fully vaxxed, and I'm encouraging my parishioners, I'm encouraging everyone, once the vaccines are available, please go and get your vaccine. All right, at this time, we're going to be having greetings coming to us by Dr. Michelle Charles. Please make her welcome, ladies and gentlemen, MP Eastern St. Thomas.
Thank you. Custos Rotularum of St. Thomas, the Honorable Marcia Bennett, CD, JP. His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Michael Hugh. Councillor Edwin Marr, representing the Leader of the Opposition. Superintendent of Police, Miss Alison Byfield, and her Deputy, Mr. Hunter. Pastor, Mrs. Pauline Ellington. Mrs. Morgan Lewis, Masters of Ceremonies, you always look so fabulous and do a good job. Awardees, distinguished guests, my St. Thomas family, good morning. Good morning. It is always good to be among family. I am supposed to be reading the message for the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and his message will be recorded tonight. So I quickly put something together for you all today. Our theme is saluting our heroes, safeguarding our legacy. It is said that a nation without any history is like a tree without roots. The preservation and continuity of our rich and deeply rooted history, heritage, and culture spans generations, and our indomitable spirit is a part of that fabric that makes us who we are as a nation. We have a great heritage to promote and a great legacy to protect. We cannot afford to treat it lightly, knowing we have had significant global influence on every field, including music, culture, sports, medicine, and of course, our contribution to the world in history through our national heroes. Jamaicans can boast of our giants who stood tall against centuries of oppression. We produce heroes that impacted not just our great island, but the world. From our very own Paul Bogle, who marched from Stony Gut to Spanish Town to demand an audience with the colonial masters against oppression, to Queen Nanny, who was fierce, brave, and bold, to George William Gordon, who took up the struggles of the black masses instead of continuing to live the life of privilege. Samuel Sharp traveled to different parishes in Jamaica, educating enslaved about Christianity, which he believed promised freedom. And of course, Marcus Garvey, who had a vision not just for Jamaica, brethren, but for the people of African descent. Sir Alexander Bustamante, considered the father of the nation, dedicated his life to Jamaica and was imprisoned in 1940 for subversive activities and anti-colonial activism, resulted in Jamaica being granted universal adult suffrage in 1944. Norman Manley formed one of our two political parties who believed self-governance was important to independence. The spirit of our heroes is within us, the spirit of sacrifice and sense of responsibility and duty toward each other. That inner belief that we are connected to a calling higher than ourselves. It has been a difficult year for all of us in this pandemic, and our frontline health workers are our modern heroes. Let us give them a round of applause. Today, I greet you with a vision of hope that we will get through this together, and I ask that we safeguard our legacy. As we go through the week, I urge you all to adhere to the protocols in place under the Disaster Risk Management Act. Obey the curfews. Continue to wear your mask, sanitize your hands, keep your distance, and if you haven't been vaccinated, like Alcustas said, please go ahead and get vaccinated. If you have questions, you can go down to the health center or wherever we're having it and ask questions to the nurses and the doctors. They have been amazing and they will be happy to help you. St. Thomas, we need to get back to life. The children need to get back to school. We need to go ahead and get vaccinated. It is the quickest and best and fastest and safest way for us to get back to life. Have a reflective, peaceful, and enjoyable day as we celebrate our heritage. May God bless you all, and may God bless St. Thomas.
Thank you, Dr. Charles, for having shared with us in a most succinct yet impactful way the role of our heroes, and just wishing for us all the very best in terms of our Heroes Day. And so, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we move to Councillor Edwin Marr of the Landui Division. He's going to be bringing greetings now. Please put your hands together for him as he comes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, everyone, sorry. All protocols observed. Message from the Leader of the Opposition. It is with great sense of humor and humility that I join with you in celebrating National Heroes Day for the first time as the Leader of the Opposition. We have been nearly 2 years with the COVID pandemic. Over 2,000 Jamaicans have lost their lives to the virus. Our normal way of life has been disrupted as we have endured nightly curfews, gathering restrictions, mask wearing, and no movement days. People have lost their jobs. Some have lost business. Times are hard. We all ask ourselves, when will this end? If there was ever a time that we need to draw strength and unity of purpose from the spirit of great courage and self-sacrifice of our 7 national heroes, this is it. The warrior spirit of Nani, the great Maroon leader, who ensured the survival of her people in the wilderness of the mountains and never submitted to the domination of colonial rule. The liberating spirit of Sam Sharp, Paul Bogle, and George William Gordon, who paid the ultimate price in the struggle for the freedom of Jamaican people and never sold out their cause. The ennobling spirit of Marcus Garvey, who led the way in fighting for racial pride and justice, and whose influence was global and will last for generations until the evil of racism and discrimination is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. The national spirit of Alexander Bustamante and Norman Washington Manley, who led Jamaica out of colonial rule and into political independence as one of the sovereign nations of the world, and gave us a tradition of democratic governance that has assured the rights and freedom that we cherish and must never take for granted or be afraid to defend. The rich legacy of our national heroes inspired us to be resilient, strong, and determined, especially in this most difficult time. It has been said that a hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. The spirit of our national heroes finds daily expressions in our everyday heroes. It is in our nurses and doctors and other healthcare workers who have all been called upon to act heroically to keep us safe amidst the ravages of the pandemic. It is in our police officers and soldiers who face grave dangers every day to protect us, and sometimes do not get the praise and support they deserve. It is in our teachers who have struggled to adapt and innovate so that our children can receive at least some education in the most difficult and challenging circumstances for schooling. It is indeed in the great generosity of the Jamaican people who help one another in their communities by lending a hand or listening ear to make life a little bit easier. This pandemic has further deepened the pre-existing inequalities in our society. It has laid bare the devastating impact of the digital divide, the vast disparities in outcomes across the education system, and differential treatment of breaches of the DRMA orders, and much more. As the leaders of today, we owe it to our people and to the liberating spirit of our national heroes to tackle these challenges head-on and to build a more fair and just society. Our goal must be one Jamaica for all Jamaicans. The beauty of it all is that overcoming our many challenges is not beyond us. The task is great, but our nation is filled with greatness. We have shown it over and over on the world stage and in so many areas of life where we punch above weight and earn the admiration of others. So yes, my fellow Jamaicans, we can build a better tomorrow if we act true allegiance to the spirit of our national heroes. Today and each day, each step of the way, happy Heroes Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Marr. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we will move into part 2 of this morning's proceedings, which will see us paying tribute to our national heroes and heroine with the reading of citations by our students and the laying of floral tributes on the monuments that have been erected here or placed here this morning. First up, we have a citation read by a student of the Yallas High School in recognition of the contributions made by the Right Excellent Sir Alexander Bustamante. And that student will come now, after which the floral tribute will be laid by Miss Alison Byfield, Superintendent of Police, St. Thomas Division.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Daniel Williams, and I will be representing the Academy of Yallas High. For Heritage Week, I will be reading a citation of one of our heroes, Sir Alexander Bustamante. Sir Alexander Bustamante, KB, ONH, LLD, Honors. Alexander Bustamante was born William Alexander Clark in Blenheim, Hanover, on February 24, 1884. His parents were Robert Clark, an Irish-descended bookkeeper, and Mary Clark, née Wilson, a small farmer. Poverty ruled out any significant amount of schooling for this young man. Very early, after completing primary school at Cocoon, William started to work as a clerk under Alexander James, grandfather to Percival James Patterson. In 1905, he traveled across Latin America and the Mediterranean, beginning at that point his trade union involvement. When he returned to Jamaica in 1934, he had a new name, Alejandro Bustamante. That name, however, was in 1944 changed to Alexander Bustamante by way of deed poll. Between 1934 and 1938, Sir Alexander Bustamante swamped the press with letters denouncing the social conditions of Jamaica and demanded a better deal for poor and underprivileged people. In 1937, he became treasurer of Jamaica Workers and Tradesmen's Union, led by future legislator Alan George St. Claver Coombs. In 1938, there were stages of unrest in Kingston as angry workers who began to follow Bustamante took to various strike actions. These incidents culminated into Bustamante on May 24 being refused permission to stage any meeting in Kingston. Later that same afternoon, he and Sir William Grant were arrested and charged with inciting people to unlawful assembly. They were sent to jail without bail, and a state of emergency was declared by the governor. In September 8, 1940, Bustamante entered detention camp where he spent the next 17 months. On his release, he resumed full control of his union and continued to organize labor. On July 8, 1943, he launched the Jamaica Labour Party. While holding a meeting at the Ward Theatre in Kingston. Shortly after the passage of universal adult suffrage in May 1944, Bustamante took the young JLP to the general elections where the party won 22 of the 32 seats. In 1949, Governor Sir Hugh Foot put forward proposals which meant slight advances in self-rule. Bustamante accepted these proposals. The JLP won the elections of that year for the second time. By 1953, Bustamante was named Chief Minister. Sir Alexander Bustamante was the first Prime Minister of Jamaica in 1962. He retired from active politics in 1967 and died on August 6, 1977, at the age of 93. This is the citation read for Heritage Week. Remember to salute our heroes and safeguard their legacy. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you would have just listened to the citation being read there by Daniel Williams from the Yallahs High School, and laying the floral tribute in appreciation of and in commemoration of the work of our first national hero, the Right Excellent Sir Alexander Bustamante, is Miss Alison Byfield, Superintendent of Police, St. Thomas Division. Thank you so much, Superintendent Byfield. Coming to us now is a student of the Paul Bogle High School who will read the citation in honor of the Right Excellent Paul Bogle. Please make said student welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today I'm representing Paul Bogle High School by paying tribute to our courageous national hero, Paul Bogle. I am Davon Brown, by the way. It was believed that Paul Bogle was born free about 1822. He was a firm political adherent of George William Gordon, who made him a deacon. Bogle lived in Stony Gut, but also had another house in Spring Garden. He was not a poor man. He also had 500 acres at Dunrobin. In 1865, the economic situation in Jamaica began to worsen. There were increases in unemployment and taxes, but a reduction in wages. Gordon had appointed Bogle the leader of the group he had chosen to take their complaints to the governor. Bogle, with the support of his brother Moses, was holding private meetings without Gordon's knowledge. He and Moses, along with 200 men, marched to Morant Bay to watch a trial at the court. A man shouted out to the court, and the police tried to arrest him. Bogle and his men saved the man from the police, and they made good their escape. The following day in Stony Gut, they heard that a warrant was out for 28 of them. The police tried to arrest Paul Bogle, but his followers fought them off. On Wednesday, October 11, Bogle and about 300 men marched into Morant Bay and raided the police station and took some old guns. They then marched to the courthouse where the Custos was having a meeting. They killed the Custos, Baron von Kettelhut, and 15 vestrymen, and set 51 prisoners free. The parish was put under martial law on October 13, and General Forbes Jackson was dispatched from Kingston with orders to crush the rebellion. The soldiers killed hundreds of innocent people. Others were beaten, shot, and hanged. Stonygut was burnt out. Bogle and his men, however, had already fled to the bushes. They were hunted throughout the day by the Maroons and the soldiers as a $400 reward was out for Bogle's capture. He was captured by the Portland Maroons on the same day that George William Gordon was hanged. Bogle's trial was short. He was found guilty and sentenced to death. He and his brother, Moses, were hanged from the burnt-out court on October 24, 1865. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for having read the citation in honor of Paul Bogle, National Hero of Jamaica. You just heard there Mr. Davon Brown of the Paul Bogle High School. To lay the floral tribute now is Honorable Marcia Bennett, CD, J.P. Custis Rotolorium of St. Thomas. A tribute in the form of a citation read by a student of the Portmoran Primary School will now be done in recognition of the work of the Right Excellent George William Gordon. Please invite and welcome the student now. Thank you very much. Portmoran Primary School.
Right Excellent George William Gordon was born near Mavis Bank in 1820 to Joseph Gordon, a Scottish planter and a slave woman. Joseph Gordon saw that his son had special characteristics and from an early age decided to take an interest in his education. George went to live with his godfather, James Daly, in Black River and there completed his education. Gordon was mostly self-educated. George William Gordon was a large landowner, shopkeeper, produce dealer, preacher, politician, social worker, and philanthropist. He started out as an Anglican but changed to Baptist, having been baptized into the Baptist Society by Reverend J.M. Philippo, founder of Jamaica's first free village. He later became a leader of the Native Baptist movement and began building several churches at his own expense. Ordained minister and was an active evangelist. In 1843, at the age of 23, Gordon was elected to the House of Assembly for St. Thomas, but his public life began about 1844. He entered politics as an advocate for the poverty-stricken Negro peasants. In 1865, when the economic condition of Jamaica was at a new low, Gordon spoke openly on behalf of the poor Negroes and with bitter criticism of the mutant. Governor Edward Eyre. During this period of oppression on the part of Negroes, Paul Bogle was very active in revolting against the system of government. On October 11, Bogle with about 300 men marched in Marns Bay where the town council was in session. There they raided a police station for arms and set the courthouse on fire. The Custos Baron von Kettelhut, along with 15 various men, were killed. It was from that incident that a warrant was sent out for Gordon's arrest. Gordon, having heard that a summons was out for his arrest, turned himself into Governor Eyre. On October 21, 1865, he was sentenced to death. On October 27, 1960, the Jamaican Parliament named the building where the Parliament meetings would be kept in honor of Gordon. It was named the George William Gordon House, often called Gordon House for short. After independence, Gordon was given the nation's highest honor, Order of National Hero.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Kahira Henry of the Portmore Primary School. And laying the floral tribute now is Councillor Michael Hugh, recognizing the Right Excellent George William Gordon. Thank you so much, Councillor Hugh. Up next, we have a student from the St. Thomas Hillview Kinder Prep School reading the citation in recognition of the Right Excellent Nanny of the Maroons.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nadrit Chung, and today I will be reading a citation on Nanny of the Maroons. Nanny was a leader of the Maroons at the beginning of the 18th century. She was known by both the Maroons and the British settlers as an outstanding military leader who became, in her lifetime and after, a symbol of unity and strength for her people during times of crisis. She was particularly important to them in the fierce fight with the British during the First Maroon War from 1720 to 1739. Although she has been immortalized in songs and legends, certain facts about Nanny, or Granny Nanny as she was affectionately known, have also been documented. Both legends and documents refer to her as having exceptional leadership qualities. She was a small, wiry woman with piercing eyes. Her influence over the Maroons was so strong that it seemed to be supernatural and was said to be connected to her powers of Obeah. She was particularly skilled in organizing the guerrilla warfare carried out by the Eastern Maroons to keep away the British troops who attempted to penetrate the mountains to overpower them. Her cleverness in guerrilla warfare confused the British, and their accounts of the fights reflect the surprise and fear which the Maroon traps caused among them. Besides inspiring her people to ward off the troops, Nanny was also a type of chieftainess or wise woman of the village, who passed down legends and encouraged the continuation of customs, music, and songs that had come with the people from Africa and which instilled in them confidence and pride. Her spirit of freedom was so great that in 1739, when Keogh signed the second treaty, the first was signed by Cudjoe for the Leeward Maroons a few months earlier, with the British, it is reported that Nanny was very angry and in disagreement with the principle of peace with the British, which she knew meant another form of subjugation. There are many legends about Nanny among the Maroons. Some even claim that there were several women who were leaders of the Maroons during this period of history. But all the legends and documents refer to Nanny of the First Maroon War as the most outstanding of them all, leading her people with courage and inspiring them to struggle to maintain that spirit of freedom and life of independence which was their rightful inheritance. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadrik Chong of the St. Thomas Hillview Kinder Prep School. Laying the floral tribute now is Miss Ashagay Mullings, Miss St. Thomas Festival Queen 2021. Thank you, Miss Mullings. Reading a citation in honor of the Right Excellent Samuel Sharp is another student of the St. Thomas Hillview Kinder Prep School. Please make her welcome as she comes.
My name is Zar Henry, representing St. Thomas Hillview Kinder Prep. Reading citation of our national hero, Samuel Sharp. Samuel Sharp. Samuel Sharp was the main instigator of the 1831 slave rebellion, which began on the Kensington estate in St. James and which was largely instrumental in bringing about the abolition of slavery. Because of his intelligence and leadership qualities, Sam Sharp became a daddy or leader of the Native Baptists in Montego Bay. Religious meetings were the only permissible forms of organized activities for the slaves. Sam Sharp was able to communicate his concern and encourage political thought concerning events in England which affected the slaves and Jamaica. Sam evolved a plan of passive resistance in 1831, by which the slaves would refuse to work on Christmas Day of 1831 and afterwards, unless their grievances concerning better treatment and the consideration of freedom were accepted by the state owners and managers. Sam explained his plan to his chosen supporters after his religious meetings and made them kiss the Bible to show their loyalty. They, in turn, took the plan to the other parishes until the idea had spread throughout St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and even St. Elizabeth and Manchester. Word of the plan reached the ears of some of the planters. Troops were sent into St. James and warships were anchored in Montego Bay and Black River, with their guns trained on the towns. On December 27, 1831, the Kensington Estate Great House was set on fire as a signal that the slave rebellion had begun. A series of other fires broke out in the area, and soon it was clear that the plan of nonviolent resistance, which Sam Sharp had originated, was impossible and impractical. Armed rebellion and seizing of property spread mostly through the western parishes, but the uprising was put down by the first week in January. A terrible retribution followed. While 14 whites died during the rebellion, more than 500 slaves lost their lives, most of them as a result of the trials after. Samuel Sharp was hanged on May 23, 1832. Sharp was buried in the sands of the Montego Bay Harbor. His remains were later exhumed and reburied beneath the pulpit at Burchell Baptist Church. In 1834, the Abolition Bill was passed by the British Parliament, and in 1838, slavery was abolished. Sharp had said, "I would rather die upon yonder gallows than live in slavery." Thank you.
Laying the floral tribute now is Mr. Mario Sams, President, Lions Club of St. Thomas. Thank you, Mr. Sams. Now we will have a student of the Morant Bay Primary School reading a citation in honor of the Right Excellent Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Marcus Garvey, the last of 11 children, was born in St. Anne's Bay on August 17, 1887. He is said to have been a descendant of the Maroons. In his youth, Garvey moved to Kingston, where he worked at the government printing office. He resigned his job in 1910 to publish a smaller paper called The Watchman. This was regarded as the turning point in his career. In 1914, he started the United Negro Improvement Association, UNIA. The UNIA encouraged self-government for Black people worldwide, self-help, economic projects, protests against racial discrimination, and cultural activities. In 1916, Garvey went to the United States, where he preached his doctrine of freedom to the oppressed blacks. He visited 38 states in 1 year, and in a few months there were more than 30 branches of the UNIA across the United States. Other branches existed in Africa and the West Indies. By 1921, he was the leader of the largest Black organization in history, which at its highest had 6 to 11 million followers. At that time, there were 859 branches of the UNIA in over 30 countries. Between 1922 and 1927, Garvey's life had taken a turn. In 1922, he had run into financial difficulties and was charged with fraud. He denied the charges but was found guilty and fined $1,000 and sentenced to 5 years in jail. During his incarceration, his wife, Amy Jacques, worked for him, continuing the work of the UNIA. In 1925, Garvey appealed the verdict, but it was dismissed. Imprisoned in Atlanta, he spent nearly 3 years and was subsequently deported to Jamaica. Back in Jamaica, he continued to hold public meetings and other cultural activities in Edelweiss Park. But changes did not come easily, and so he left for England in 1935. There, he remained active until January 1940, when he suffered a stroke. After suffering a second stroke, he died in June 1940. He was embalmed and buried in Kendall Green Cemetery, London. In 1964, his body was exhumed, brought home to Jamaica, and reburied in the National Heroes Park. Marcus Messiah Garvey, Jamaica's first national hero, has been recognized as the first Black man to awaken the dignity of the Black race in Jamaica, North America, and Africa.
And laying the floral tribute is Mr. Colchester Watson, Chairman of the St. Thomas Cultural Development Committee. Thank you, Mr. Watson. To conclude our 7 citations in honor of our 7 national heroes comes now a student of the White Horses Primary School. Please welcome said student who will read a citation in recognition of the contributions made by the Right Excellent Norman Washington Manley.
My name is Jelisa Thompson, a representative of the White Horses Primary and Infant School. Norman Washington Manley was born at Roxborough, Manchester on July 4, 1893. He was a brilliant scholar and athlete soldier in the First World War and lawyer. He identified himself with the cause of the workers at the time of labor troubles of 1938 and donated time and advocacy to the cause. In September 1938, Manley founded the People's National Party, PNP, and was elected its president annually until his retirement in 1969, 31 years later. Manley and the PNP supported the trade union movement, then led by Alexander Bustamante, while leading the demand for universal adult suffrage. When suffrage came, Manley had to wait 10 years and 2 terms before his party was elected to office. He was a strong advocate of the Federation of the West Indies, established in 1958. But when Sir Alexander Bustamante declared that the opposition, Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, would take Jamaica out of the Federation, Norman Manley, already renowned for his integrity and commitment to democracy, called a referendum unprecedented in Jamaica to let the people decide. The vote was decisively against Jamaica's continued membership of the Federation. Norman Washington Manley, after arranging Jamaica's orderly withdrawal from the Union, set up a joint committee to decide on a constitution for separate independence for Jamaica. He himself chaired the committee with great distinction and then led the team that negotiated the island's independence from Britain. The issue settled, Manley again went to the people. He lost the ensuing election to the JLP and gave his last years of service as leader of the opposition, establishing definitively the role of the parliamentary opposition in a developing nation. In his last public address to an annual conference of the PNP, he said, "I say that the mission of my generation was to win self-government for Jamaica, to win political power, which is the final power for the black masses of my country from which I spring. I am proud to stand here today and say to you who fought the fight with me, say it with gladness and pride, mission accomplished for my generation." And what is the mission of this generation? It is reconstructing the social and economic society and the life of Jamaica. Norman Manley died on September 2, 1969.
Thank you, Jalissa. At this time, laying the floral tribute is Mrs. Karen Barrett Bennett, JP. And she's representing Mr. Seabright Dixon, President of the Lay Magistrates Association. That concludes the reading of citations and laying of floral tributes in recognition and honor of our 6 national heroes and 1 national heroine. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll punctuate our morning's deliberations, all that narration, with some music brought to you by Miss Anika Robinson. Please put your hands together for her as she comes.
It must be cold there in the shadows to never have sunlight on your face. You were content so we could shine. That's your way. You've always walked a step behind. We were the ones with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. And I never once heard you complain. Did you ever know that you're our heroes? And everything we would like to be. Now we can fly higher than eagles. You are the wind beneath our wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but we've hid it all here in our hearts. Oh, we want you to know we know the truth. That we would be nothing without you. Oh, did you ever know that you're our heroes? You're everything we would like to be. Now we can fly higher than eagles. You are the wind beneath our wings. Did we ever tell you you're our heroes? And everything we would like to be. Now we can fly higher than eagles. You are the winds beneath our wings.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson, with that very appropriate song. And before I move on, I must remember to express sincere gratitude to the teachers and the parents of the students who are present here with us this morning for having prepared them and allowing them to come out properly representing their schools and participating in this our civic function. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, in addition to recognizing our 7 national heroes, we also want to pay tribute to our own heroes right here in St. Thomas. Every year, the JCDC is charged with the responsibility of perusing its catalog of volunteers and noting the contributions of persons in our parish. This year, 2021, will see the Commission recognizing the work of 5 individuals in the areas of culture, community development, and education. And so at this time, let me hasten to congratulate all 5 awardees. And right now you will see or witness my reading citations in their honor, and also seeing them receive plaques courtesy of the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission. Inviting to come forward Miss Pansy Romelda Murphy. Please put your hands together for our first awardee, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want the sun to burn her up, you know. So perhaps she can just stand right here. I think she's visible to everyone at the moment. Thank you. Citation in recognition of the sterling work of Miss Pansy Romelda Murphy. And so we will conclude by just reinforcing that Miss Murphy has contributed significantly in the areas of culture and community development, and this year we recognize her for her sterling service. Thank you so much, Miss Murphy. To make the presentation, I invite Honorable Marcia Bennett, CD JP Custos of St. Thomas. Thank you, Custos, for having made the presentation, and congratulations again. Yes, I'll allow you to do the other one. Inviting now Miss Yvonne Joy Duaney, our second honoree this morning, or no, afternoon. A graduate of the University of the West Indies with a Master of Arts in History, 2008, and a Bachelor's of Education in 1999. She was a cultural agent for the St. Thomas Technical High School, where she had competed in the traditional folk forms performing arts competition and won a national gold medal. She and several pupils were given the opportunity to travel to Cuba and Barbados as members of the Cultural Club through UNESCO. She has served as vice principal at St. Thomas Technical High School on multiple occasions due to her effectiveness as a teacher and teacher leader. Extracurricular activities, fundraising events, and special outings for teachers were all coordinated by her. She's now retired after serving for almost 30 years as a lay preacher, Property and Care Fund steward at the Coke Methodist Church in Morant Bay. Miss Duaney was essential in the formation of the Red Hills Association, for which she served as president for many years. And under her guidance, the Red Hills Association was ranked 3rd in the National Housing Trust Best Scheme competition. Miss Duaney has been commissioned as a Justice of the Peace, and she continues to work hard in her church, neighborhood, and parish. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Yvonne Duaney, one of our 5 awardees this morning, for having contributed significantly in the area of culture, community development, and education. To make the presentation, I'll invite again Honorable Marcia Bennett to do so. Custos Rotolorium, St. Thomas. We are short. Yeah, we are short. Congratulations again, Ms. Duaney, and thank you, Honorable Custis. At this time, I'll invite to come forward Mrs. Mona Ray Elaine Malcolm. Mona Ray Elaine Malcolm was born in the parish of St. Thomas, but spent her early years in the parish of Trelawney, where she attended Falmouth Primary School, Montego Bay High School for Girls, and Shortwood Teachers College. For 41 years, she served as an educator for the Ministry of Education in the parish of St. Thomas, with 40 years of dedicated service at the Seaford High School. She is of the Anglican faith, serving in a variety of roles at the Morant Bay Parish Church. She's currently serving as Rector's Warden. Her community involvement over the years includes St. Thomas Horticultural Society, St. Thomas Business and Professional Organization, Lioness or Lions Club of St. Thomas, generally supportive of offering floral decorating skills to any civic function, and supporter of the local parish Festival Queen entrance in preparation for the annual national competitions in the areas of social etiquette. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we honor Mrs. Mona Ray Malcolm for her dedicated service in the area of community, culture, and education. Inviting now to make the presentation is Miss St. Thomas Festival Queen, Miss Ashigay Mullings. Congratulations, Mrs. Malcolm. Thank you, Ms. Mullings. At this time, we'll invite our fourth awardee, Mrs. Yvonne McLeod Blair. Yvonne McLeod Blair is a teacher by profession, and for the past 25 years has been employed by the Ministry of Education. She currently teaches at the Port Morant Primary and Junior High School. Mrs. Blair holds a teaching diploma in primary education obtained in 1996 at the St. Joseph's Teachers College. She later upgraded her studies at the University of the West Indies and in 2010 attained a bachelor's education degree, upper second class honors, specializing in the field of literacy studies. She believes in the holistic development of every child. Hence, she dedicates herself to the task of cultural activities. She teaches traditional folk form dance and also prepares the students to participate in the JCDC dance competitions annually. For the past 20 years, the students with whom she interacts have represented the school at both parish and national levels. In recognition of quality performance, they have been awarded gold, silver, and bronze medals over many years. In addition, these students have gained further exposure by representing the school at other cultural events such as heritage celebrations and independence celebration activities. A noble writer once said, "Success isn't always about greatness, it's about consistency." Consistent hard work leads to success, then greatness will come. Mrs. Blair's hard work, coupled with consistency over the past 20 years, is commendable. The JCDC, in recognition of this effort, takes this opportunity to present this award to Mrs. Yvonne McLeod Blair for her sterling contribution to culture and education. Congratulations, Mrs. McLeod Blair. And to make the presentation, I'll invite Councillor Edwin, Councillor, His Worship the Mayor, Sir Michael Hugh. Congratulations, Mrs. McLeod Blair, and thank you, Mr. Hugh. Thank you so much, Councillor Hugh. Inviting now Miss Sylvia Elaine Brooks. Please make her welcome, ladies and gentlemen. A Scorpion born in Seafort and raised in Lower York by Solomon Cargill and Rose Bernard. She is mother of 8 children, divorced, and a member of the Church of God of Prophecy in Seafort. Her parents instilled in her the desire to constantly lend a helping hand. Miss Brooks is former Seafort primary school teacher and Prospect Primary School guidance counselor, a university graduate with second-class honors, a multifaceted individual with community involvement, which includes but is not limited to being a Sunday school teacher, director, secretary of the Women's Ministry, director of the Senior Citizens Association, president, Retired Teachers Association, past president, Rotary Club of Morant Bay, assistant division commissioner, mentor, National Youth Mentorship Program, director, Reverie, Optimist Club, and a volunteer teacher, Jamal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a distinct pleasure that on behalf of the JCDC, we recognize this morning Miss Sylvia Brooks for her sterling contribution to culture, education, and community development. Congratulations, Ms. Brooks. Inviting now Councillor Edwin Marr to come now and to make the presentation of a plaque, courtesy of the JCDC. Please put your hands together one more time, ladies and gentlemen, for all 5 awardees. The people of St. Thomas commend you, we appreciate you, we honor you, we respect you for the sacrifices you've made over the years in helping to shape the social landscape of our parish. At this time, we'll have the reply on behalf of the awardees brought to us by Miss Yvonne Duaney, JP. Please make her welcome as she comes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Honorable Marcia Bennett, Custos Rotolorum, St. Thomas, Dr. Michelle Charles, who has gone, MP Eastern St. Thomas, His Worship the Mayor, Mr. Michael Yu, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are truly honored today to receive the awards bestowed on each of us. There is no doubt that we have led the charge in the various fields that we were awarded for, and our success story stands out. So thank you, JCDC, for recognizing our devoted service and stewardship in this parish. This award that we have received will inspire us to continue to give good service. God bless the potential that we all have, making anything possible. Thank you for your choice. Thank you for your trust in us. In this award ceremony of 2001, of 2021, we have exemplified the term above and beyond. I thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Duaney. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to a close. Let me use this opportunity to thank you for having stayed the course with us at this another civic function. And to formally conclude with the vote of thanks, I'll now invite Mr. Colchester Watson, Chairman, St. Thomas Development Committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. The time is long gone, and we've been enjoying ourselves, so I'll try to quickly move into the vote of thanks. I am honored, truly honored, and deem it a great honor and privilege to propose this vote of thanks. And what I want to do is to invite the participants here to just give a round of applause as I go along. I want to first give thanks to JCDC and the membership, their staff members, their support staff. I also want to say thanks to the municipal corporation for keeping this usually busy place sterile and tranquil for this function. And I should also start out by saying I give God thanks for a beautiful, sunny, and warm day. I know some of us are warmer than some, right? And would have preferred to be in the office, but we give God thanks, and there's no rain today. I also want to say thanks to the employers, the parents, the teachers, the principals, who have allowed the students and all of us to have participated in this event. We'd also like to thank the 6 heroes and 1 heroine because of their fight and their struggles before. It has given us the opportunity to be here today. If it was not for them, the question is asked, where would we be and the world be today? I'd also like to say thanks to the songbird, Miss Anika Robinson. I'd also like to say thanks to the awardees and their contributions to the parish of St. Thomas. The soundman and the videographers, I want to say thanks. I want to say thanks to the scouts. I'm not seeing them, but I want to say thanks to the scouts, the police and the security personnel around. I want to say thanks to the chairperson. She navigated the program very well, and it was a success. I also want to say thanks to the school students who came in and gave the citations. For all the other persons who are bystanders, persons who are just passing and decide to stay along, I want to say thanks. And please put a round of applause to everybody else who I have forgotten to mention, but because the day is going, I want to say thanks to everyone who's here with me today. And let's put our hands together for everyone that I have not mentioned. Thank you very much. All right, turn back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. I do believe you thanked everybody. I really do believe you did. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I invite us all to stand for the National Pledge. Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body. In the service of my fellow citizens, I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please walk good. Remember to wear your mask, sanitize, social distance, and God bless you all.